What if one man controlled the fuel of the entire world? This is not myth. This is the story of how it happened. He kept records of everything. Every penny in, every penny out. Long before he was rich, he was obsessive. By 1879, one company controlled 90% of all oil refined in America. One company, one man behind it. He was born in 1839 in rural New York. Not wealthy, not connected. Just a boy who refused to lose at arithmetic. He watched how money moved, how merchants made it and lost it. And he decided he would never lose it. In 1859, oil was discovered in Pennsylvania. Most men saw chaos. John D. Rockefeller saw a system waiting to be built. His first refinery partnership was signed in 1863. Not with excitement, with the calm certainty of a man who already knew how it would end. He did not rush, he did not gamble. He studied every cost, cut every waste, and reinvested every single dollar. Within 7 years, his refineries were processing a quarter of all American oil. But he was only getting started. The railroads were next. He went to the railroad executives with an offer they couldn't refuse. Volume. He would guarantee volume in exchange for secret rebates. Standard Oil was incorporated in 1870. Within months, Rockefeller it began absorbing every competitor in Cleveland, one by one, silently. He called it cooperation. His competitors called it something else. But by the time they had a name for it, they had already lost. If you would not sell to him, your rail rates would mysteriously rise. Your customers would find cheaper oil elsewhere, always elsewhere. The deals were made in rooms that history almost forgot, signed by hands that preferred shadows, recorded in ledgers that burned, while others fought for pipelines above ground. Rockefeller built his below. Invisible, unstoppable, already paid for, banks that once turned him away now extended unlimited credit. The rules of money had quietly rewritten themselves around him. By 1879, Standard Oil controlled 90% of U.S. refining capacity. This was not market dominance. This was something new, something without a name yet. Small refiners received a letter. The letter had two options. Most who read it stopped fighting before the end of the second paragraph. Join Standard Oil, or be destroyed by it. He did not frame it as a threat. He framed it as logic, which made it worse. His network of tanker cars crossed America like veins in a body. Wherever they reached, Independent Oil died. He was the wealthiest man alive, and he still tracked every penny personally. Control, for Rockefeller, was never about comfort. It was about completeness. In 1882, he invented a new legal structure, the trust. 40 companies, one command, hidden behind a wall of paperwork. No regulator could reel. The Standard Oil Trust Agreement was signed in January 1882. 9 trustees, one direction, and a secrecy that held for 2 decades. Journalists tried to follow the money. But the money moved faster than ink dried. Standard Oil had more lawyers than most cities had police officers. By 1911, his fortune was estimated at about $900 million. Adjusted for today, over $400 billion. More than any human being has held before or since. Then came a woman with a notebook, Ida Tarbell. Daughter of a man Standard Oil had ruined. She had been preparing for this her entire life. For 5 years, she interviewed former employees, burned-out competitors, and men who whispered,
because they were still afraid to speak aloud. Between 1902 and 1904, her investigation ran in McClure's magazine.
It's over.
19 installments. America read every one. Nothing was the same after. Rockefeller's public response was silence. Privately, he called her that misguided woman. But the wall he had built was cracking. He could hear it. Public anger that had been building for 30 years. Finally, had evidence. Names, dates, amounts. The story of what had really happened. The U.S. government filed suit under the Sherman Antitrust Act. The trial lasted years. Rockefeller barely attended. He sent his lawyers to live in the courtroom. On May 15, 1911, the Supreme Court ruled unanimously. Standard Oil must be dissolved, broken into 34 separate companies. The gavel fell. The empire was broken. The headlines declared victory. The people celebrated. And John D. Rockefeller quietly picked up every single piece. He owned shares in all 34 new companies. Each one freed from the trust, Cheniere grew faster. His net worth didn't fall. It doubled within months. The breakup that was designed to end his power, Cheniere made him the richest person on earth. History had tried to correct itself. And failed. He founded the University of Chicago. He funded medical research. He built schools in the American South. Was this conscience or strategy? Perhaps both. His philanthropic foundation gave away over $500 million in his lifetime. The same system that extracted from millions, prey, now returned unselectively to a few. Was he villain or visionary? The answer may be tailored that this question itself is the trap. He was the system. The system does not have a moral. In his later years, he lived quietly at Kikwit. He played golf. He gave dimes to strangers. He outlived almost everyone who had ever feared him. The age of oil he built. Cliff powered every war, every economy, every city of the 20th century. He lit the modern world. On his own terms. The next time you pull up to a gas pump, look at the logo. Chevron, ExxonMobil, BP, his children. Still running. Wall Street structure, the way corporations are built and owned, was redesigned around his innovations. The trust was broken. $400 billion in today's money. Not inherited. Not born into. Calculated, extracted, compounded from nothing. In one lifetime, every billionaire after him, drew, every one. It was operating inside a system he helped design. He did not control prices directly. He controlled the infrastructure that prices ran through. He never forgot where he started. He returned to the farmhouse once. He stood in the doorway for a long time. He was a devout Baptist his entire life. He tithed from his very first paycheck. He lived simply. He dressed simply. He did not need to display the wealth. When you control everything, history could not agree on what to call him. Robber baron or captain of industry. Hundreds of thousands worked for Standard Oil. Their labor built the empire. Their wages were carefully calculated. Standard Oil's kerosene lit the homes of the poor. When candles were too expensive, he gave light to millions. He did not want to destroy competition. He wanted to make it impossible. Standard Oil had lobbyists in state legislatures across America. Most of Standard Oil's internal records were destroyed or sealed. $1 billion in 1913, when the entire U.S. federal budget was $700 million. One man, more than the government he operated beside. The Rockefeller Institute for Medical Research became Rockefeller University. He lived to 97. While he aged, the automobile era began creating a second, larger demand for the oil he had always controlled. He is taught in American schools as an example of both capitalism's triumph, and its danger. Every light in every city tonight, Henry Chandler traces a supply chain, that somewhere in its history, passes through a refinery, a pipeline, a decision sound that Rockefeller made first. Systems built for control do not simply die when the controlling hand is removed. They continue. His son built Rockefeller Center. His grandson founded Chase Manhattan Bank. His great-grandson ran for vice president. Rockefeller Center rises in Midtown Manhattan today. His name on the building, his name on the plaza, vertical integration, horizontal consolidation, political access. These were not accidents of his success. Every era has its version of Standard Oil. The product changes. The logic doesn't control the infrastructure. Economists still debate whether monopoly chon is a market failure or a market destination. Rockefeller didn't debate it. Once you see the system, you see it everywhere. In the pump price, in the stock price, the plastic in your phone, the fertilizer in your food, the medicine in your cabinet. Petroleum, the infrastructure of the modern world. Carter was laid by engineers who worked for him. The maps have changed. At the peak of his power in 1911, standing over a city he effectively owned, the questions asked in Congress in 1911 are being asked again today. Different companies, different products. He died on May 23, 1937. Age 97. He left behind a Bible, a ledger, and a dime. The markets didn't mourn. The machines he built didn't pause for the man who built